This is the plaintiff, Charlie Kane. He says he rented a car to the defendant, and the guy brought it to New York City, which is against the rules he signed when he rented it. He comes to find out the car's gone missing because the defendant never returned it at the end of the rental agreement. No one knows what happened to the thing. Either it was stolen, impounded, or the plaintiff chopped it up and sold it for parts. Regardless, this guy owes him for the value of the car, and he's suing him here and now for the $4,000 it was worth. This is the defendant, Michael DeMacco. He says his friend's mom had a brain tumor, and he had to take the car to the city in an emergency. Unfortunately, the car was gone the next day, and he's come to find out it had over $9,000 worth of parking tickets on it, so it got repossessed by the city. He's not paying for the car. It wasn't his fault it got confiscated, and he doesn't owe the plaintiff a thing. He's accused of not following the rules. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $700, the cost of a rental car to get home and inconvenience.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff rented a car to the defendant and it disappeared. But the defendant says it looks like it was impounded because it had $9 grand in parking tickets. It's the case of Park It Here.
Sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas. BSK Enterprises doing business as Rent-A-Wreck of Poughkeepsie, represented here by Charles Kane. You're the owner?
Yes,
You're
Judge.
suing Mr. DeMacco Jr., Michael DeMacco Jr.,
Yes, ma'am.
for $4,000, what you say is the cost of a 2007 Chevy Malibu, and you are counterclaiming against him $700. Tell me what happened.
Well, Judge, I'm the owner of Rent-A-Wreck of Poughkeepsie. We're a small auto rental agency, and we rented to Mr. DeMacco on...
What is Rent-A-Wreck is a franchise,
yes,
right?
It's a... Yes,
Tell me the concept. I know what it is.
Well, it's a used car franchise. It's one of the first used car rental agencies in America. So, and we rent nice, clean used cars instead of new cars.
And how much do you charge?
Around $29 a day. To $34, depending on things. And
do you require people to leave a credit card?
Yes, and if they don't, there's a $300 deposit.
Okay.
And I think in this gentleman's case, we took a $300
And
deposit.
what's the youngest you rent to?
Well, we can't age discriminate, so we can rent till up to 18 years old and over.
So 18 years old and over can rent?
You can by the laws of New York, yes.
Okay,
I mean,
there you have it, folks. Those of you who've been trying to rent a car and can't.
You can come down.
Okay.
It's a little bit of a surcharge, though, So
yeah, well, there always is.
Yeah.
All right, so he rents a car from you for how many days?
He rented him for 3 days, from July 18th to the 21st, and he didn't return the vehicle. And we spoke to him on the phone. We didn't hear from him.
When did you speak to him?
A few days, after it was supposed to have been returned. And he really didn't have a clue where it was.
What did he say had happened to it?
Well, he was in New York City. Also on our contracts, which we have signed here, that vehicles are not allowed in the 5 boroughs. It's just
in New York City?
Yes, and he
Why
signed.
not?
Well, because what happens is a lot of people go down there. There's parking tickets. They're expensive. It's out of our league, and a lot of things can happen down there. We're kind of a small local town.
Why don't you just spell it out? Because you're beating around the bush.
Well, we do spell it out.
No, I meant with me here.
Oh, okay. Well, in New York City, there's some spots that are bad in the 5 boroughs. Not to.
So you don't want them to bring the car into New York City
we don't like
because
them
it's a
down
risk?
there. Well,
yeah, but it's more than that because people get tickets in New York City.
People get tickets,
and then cars get impounded.
And historic.
Did this car have tickets on it?
This car had tickets.
How
well,
many?
Not this particular car.
Not this particular car.
Over the years, we've had a lot of tickets that built up that go onto our license plate.
Right.
Unfortunately,
so even though people are renting the car and they're supposed to pay their own tickets,
they don't pay. And we're in litigation and negotiation with them, and there's a lot of money. So that's another reason why. But even before all of this, we just didn't allow them to get down there.
All right. So he tells you, I don't know where the car is. The car got towed.
He didn't know where the vehicle was. He didn't even say what happened, and he didn't return.
Did he tell you he was in New York City?
He did. He called once and he said, I was in New York City. I said, you violated the contract because, we clearly have it stated, and I have it initialed that they're not allowed to go down there. And
so
if they
what
are
happened?
Compensated.
What happened?
What happened was I did rent the car from him, and a friend of mine's mom had gotten sick and asked me if I could drive him to the hospital, which I did.
Was the hospital in New York City?
No, Westchester County. He lived in New York City. We went to Westchester Medical Center. I picked him up in the city and drove him to Westchester Medical Center.
Okay.
And we ended up spending the day at the hospital. His mom got a brain tumor, and we spent the day at the hospital. I drove him home around midnight, and I decided I should spend the night there instead of driving all the way back to
That's where you stayed in the city.
That's where I
And
stayed
so
in the
you
city.
parked it where?
Right in front of his house.
Right, but
In the Bronx.
okay. So you brought it to the Bronx, but you knew you weren't supposed to have the
No,
car.
I actually didn't know. All I know is when I rented the car, he was like, initial here, sign here, have a good day. And that's what I did.
Well, that's your own fault if you're
right,
not
for not
reading
reading.
it.
I understand that now.
I mean, did you read that contract?
Not at all. Not at all.
No, did you read it afterwards when he said, give me the money?
It was in the glove compartment of the car, so when it got towed
So
away.
you never read the
went.
contract?
I glanced at it. Did I read the whole thing?
Would you
No.
like to glance at it now?
Now it's a little late. Well, I'm sure if he said I initialed it, I guess I
truer
initialed
words
it.
have never been spoken. Now's a little late, Judge, for me to read the contract. Hand this over to this nice man and ask him to read out loud what's highlighted in yellow. Just read that.
Unfortunately, I didn't bring my glasses, but I'll do my best.
Now, here we go. You know what, Douglas? Do a dramatic reading for me.
Thank you very much.
Well, unfortunately, I didn't bring my glasses.
Are you kidding me? When I got you, you were a young man.
Let me see if I can. Let's see.
For real?
No, I
Give me
can't do
that.
it.
Give
That's
me
out.
that. Give me
That's
that.
completely out.
We grew old together. That's so sad. No refunds for early returns. Parking tickets are the responsibility of the renter. No vehicles are allowed to New York City and/or 5 boroughs. If vehicle is impounded in these areas, customer will be responsible for paying the cash value of the vehicle or impound amount. Wow, that's kind of serious.
Yeah, I'm sure he
And you
probably
initialed
strikes
it.
pretty good with that, huh?
No, he probably doesn't. If he just kept the car in New York City, there wouldn't be a problem.
Well, you know,
Right? Like,
there are exceptions to the rules, aren't there?
hey, no, what's your exception of the rule?
My
You
exception
stayed
is
over
a
at
friend of
friend's
mine's
house?
mom, yeah.
I mean, I thought the hospital was there. Now it turns out the hospital's not even there.
No.
You just went to a friend's house
No, he
and didn't
lives
feel
there.
like driving back and left the car on a New York City street when it explicitly says you can't take the car to New York City. I don't believe for a second that this was like, you know, there, hurry up and sign this before you read it or any such
never said
nonsense.
that.
I am confident that these guys tell you guys, do not take the car into New York City. We have one rule here. No New York City. You cannot take the car into New York City.
Right.
Repeat after me. I cannot take the car into... I mean, that because they know that they're going to lose the car. Where's the car, by the way?
In the pound or
Oh, look at
auctioned
that.
off, I don't
Look at
know.
that. But how do you know where the car is?
Because I called him as soon as I realized the car was missing.
Oh.
He told me it's my responsibility to figure out where it is, so I dialed 311, and they told me he owes over $9,000 worth of tickets.
Well, it's
and they
not...
impounded the car.
Try to remember, it's not... I mean, the car has received... You say, do you have anything like that in writing? Do you have
No.
How do I know you didn't just steal the car?
That's what I'm.
Okay. You want to call 311? They'll tell you. I'm sure you're a judge.
No, I want you to come with something from 311 because you're afraid of me, but that didn't happen. It's a little late for that now. So I assume you've called and you've verified it.
I think my manager attempted, but Judge,
No,
I'd like...
no, don't go on to the next thing.
Oh, okay.
Clearly, somebody at your place called because there's no way that your car's missing and that you don't call to see what happened to it. So you confirmed that, in fact, it had been impounded.
I think my manager
And how many tickets had this car accrued?
Well, it's not the car, it's the agency as a whole, because vehicles, we have 70 cars on the fleet.
And they're all registered to
people,
the same agency.
And they
I got
hit the BSK Enterprises.
So it's not
doing
one
businesses.
car with that many tickets, it's all of your
It's
cars.
a majority of them, because
And
when
they
when they
say
run the plate,
Rent-A-Wreck owes them
when they run the
$9,000
plate,
in
they
tickets.
automatically know. I guess it's under the scoff law or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're over a certain amount, they take the vehicles now.
Good Lord.
So,
and now you have a counterclaim. This is funny. You have a counterclaim against them for $100 for inconveniencing you, $100 for missed work, and $500 the amount you paid for the rental car. How do you figure?
I had the car one night. It got towed away because of his tickets.
You sure it didn't get towed away because you went to New York City?
Well, like I said, Your Honor, I didn't read the contract fully. I didn't have it if the
And
car
nobody
got
told you
towed.
don't take the car to New York City?
Okay, who has rented a car in this world? You have? Have you ever read the rental agreement?
Every time, but I'm OCD and ADD, so.
You've actually read it?
Oh yeah,
Oh my God, I assumed. Really?
I read every contract.
And you processed it?
definitely.
Huh. Rented a car?
Rented them.
And?
Never checked it. Never checked the contract. Never.
Got in trouble from it?
No, not yet, hopefully.
God, am I crazy? Look at this dude. Does he kind of look Al Pacino-y? Yeah. You got that?
Yeah, I get it once in a while.
Oh yeah. What does he say again?
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, yeah.
There you go. Going inside the courtroom.
What do you think's going to happen here? I mean, I didn't sign this.
don't
See,
know.
here's the thing. This is a contract.
Uh-huh.
Okay? You entered into the contract. The contract only allowed you to drive the car in a city that is not the 5 boroughs. Okay? If you brought it into the boroughs, then it actually says what the problem will be. It says if it gets impounded, you either pay for the impound or you bring it back. He has a dispute with the city. I don't think he has a leg to stand on. That's part of his doing business. So what does he do? The smart thing, he says, you know what? No more cars in New York City because all of my renters are just, there's got to be a reason why someone goes to rent a wreck instead of Hertz. There has to be a reason. So I presume you're cheaper.
A lot of things. There's a lot of good reasons. We take people that are younger. We take people that don't have credit cards. We take people that don't have car insurance. We're very liberal because they're used cars, although they mean a lot to us, but they're not brand new.
Very sentimental value.
Well,
but so it's, there's a place for that in our community. Thank God for them because you couldn't rent from Hertz. So I guess, or you wouldn't be renting from Rent-A-Wreck. So they have a business plan, and the business plan has been around for a long time, and it works. But we can't have people like you put them out of business by not listening to what you said you would do. And now what? Where do you get that this car's worth $4,000?
Judge, I think in the paperwork I did in the value.
I looked up Kelley Blue Book. It's nowhere near that. Where do you get that? So show it to me.
I used NADA, which is...
Why? You didn't like Kelley Blue Book?
Well, we didn't have that available.
Okay, let me see what you've got.
I'll just give you, that's the NADA value.
Thank
and then the
you.
one behind that, Judge, is the vehicle that's for sale at a local dealership.
Yeah, I don't care about that. Rough trade-in, $1,200. Average trade-in, $1,900. Clean trade-in, $2,500. Clean retail, $4,375. Yeah, I'm going to go with Kelley Blue Book, which isn't that off from clean trade-in, really. Private party sale on Kelley Blue Book is $2,600. You've left me no choice. This is a contract that you signed. I'm finding in favor of the plaintiff in the amount of $2,600. That's my verdict.
Thank you, Judge.
And in so doing, let me just make one thing very clear. I realize, because I want to take a shower now, all right? Because I know that the reason it got impounded is because the city of New York says, hey, you owe us on tickets. And I don't want to be a person who helps a guy out who's trying to avoid getting a car impounded, but why not? That's the contract that you signed. He is at war with the city on whether they should be having to pay all these fines from their renters not paying their tickets. I don't know what's going to happen between him and the city, but he took the precautions he needed to take, which is just to tell you, stay out of there. And then you didn't, and now there's consequences. I still don't feel any cleaner.
So because the defendant signed the contract, he loses this case. The plaintiff prevails. Mr. DeMarco, you understand the judge's verdict?
I just didn't read the contract, that's all.
You learned a valuable lesson today, you know that?
Yes, I did.
You kind of stupid not to read it.
Yeah, I should have read it.
All right. Damn right you should have. You better sign some documents out there. Here comes Mr. Kane. Mr. Rent-A-Wreck. Are Rent-A-Wrecks good cars to buy?
They're great cars.
Why Rent-A-Wreck?
Well, it's just a funny name that the originator of the company called, but they're nice, clean, used cars.
Do many people rent a car and don't return it on time? Do you guys panic if that happens?
Well, unfortunately, the type of people that we rent to, because they're kind of rejects from Hertz and Avis and everything, because we give people a lot of opportunities that the other companies don't, we do have a lot of heartaches trying to get them back. They'll rent them for a couple of days, and we'll get them a week or two later, and the money isn't on their credit card. So it's a tough business, but we've been in business 18 years, and we're one of the largest in the state. So.
Well, I've often wondered what would happen if I didn't return a car on time. It would be hell to pay, wouldn't it?
Well, kind of.
Yes.
I mean, we don't come
let's
after
face
you
it,
with
you're right.
Anything bad.
Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay. By the way, you got to work that out with the city. What are you going to do?
We're going to get some lawyers and try to get it done.
You better get it. $9,000 worth of parking ticket. That's a lot. Harvey?
Well, look, I mean, a lot of people don't read this stuff, but even if you don't, I mean, just at least look at the captions where it comes to responsibility of the drivers.